Oh my god, I've been served with a notice under the Income Tax Act. What should I do now? Where should I go? They've even asked for some reply or some explanation. Should I call my CA? I'm so much scared, I'm so much worried. Hello everyone, welcome to Help My Biz. At Help My Biz, we provide simple solutions to help your business grow. As you've already guessed, today we are going to discuss about the various notices under the Income Tax Act. So without any further delay, let's get started. But before we start, there's actually nothing to be scared of if you get a notice from the Income Tax Department. Sometimes the officer, who we lovingly call as the assessing officer, just wants to clarify some of his doubts and may be asking for certain documents which he wants to verify. More details on this in the later part of the video. So what is the process if you get a notice under the Income Tax Act? First step is that the assessee files the income tax return. The second step is that it is processed by the department. Nowadays, most of the processing is done by the computers, so the time taken for processing has reduced significantly from the past. The third step is that if there is any mistake or discrepancy in your income tax return, then notice may be issued to you. Now, why is an income tax notice issued? A notice may be issued for the following reasons. I have listed down some of the basic reasons why you may be served with a notice. Number one is that the income tax return has not been filed. Number two is there may be mistakes or discrepancies in the return that you have filed. Third is there is a tedious mismatch between the return filed and the 26 AS. Fourth is that any information, any transaction shown in the ITR does not match with the department's records. Fifth is that the assessing officer requires some documents or details. Sixth one is that the scrutiny to be carried out under section 143(3). And the last one is that for any other purpose that the assessing officer may deem fit. Now, what are the 7 types of income tax notices? I'll explain in brief each of the various 7 types of notices so that you have some amount of idea why you may be served with a notice. The first one is section 139(9). There is a defective income tax return. The assessing officer is of the opinion that the ITR filed by the assessee is defective. A proper description of the error along with the solution is shared by the assessing officer. 15 days are provided to the assessee to respond to the notice. Second is section 131(1)(a). Income is concealed or likely to be concealed. If the assessing officer is of the opinion that the income has been concealed or likely to be concealed, then you will be served with a notice under this section. The notice is an intimation of an inquiry or investigation into the matter by the assessing officer. The assessing officer has the power to impound the books of accounts and documents by providing reasons for the same. Third one is section 142(1), which is the preliminary inquiry before an assessment. A notice of preliminary inquiry is served if the income tax return is not filed on time. Also, if the AO wishes to go through the documentary proof, he may serve this notice for assessment purpose. The time limit to serve this notice by the AO is before the end of the relevant assessment year. Fourth one is section 143(2). There is a follow-up notice under section 142(1). If the AO is not satisfied with the response of the assessee or the assessee fails to provide the documents as explained in the previous point, then you may receive a notice under section 143(2). The time limit to serve this notice is before the end of 6 months from the end of the financial year. The fifth one is section 148, that is the income escaping assessment. This is one of the most popular and one of the most favorite of all the assessing officers. This notice is very complicated and I am just giving a brief idea about this. If the new assessing officer does not agree with the previous assessing officer, then you can expect a notice under section 148. In other words, even when your assessment has been completed, but still the AO feels that your income has escaped assessment, then a notice under section 148 can be issued. The assessee may need to file the income tax return for the relevant assessment years as well. Moving to the sixth one is the section 156, that is notice of demand. if any penalty, fine, tax or any other amount is due from the taxpayer, the notice under section 156 is served. This notice is normally issued after the ITR has been served. The taxpayer will have to pay the amount within 30 days from the date of the notice. No time limit has been prescribed to serve this notice. The last one is section 245, refund adjusted against the tax demand. The notice is issued when the tax demand is adjusted against the tax refund for an assessment year. There is no time limit to serve this notice. Now I want to tell you a very common point where taxpayers get confused. That is, there is a difference between the income tax notice and the assessment initiation. If you receive initiation under section 143(1), 147, 143(3) or 144, then these are not income tax notices, but rather they are assessment initiations. Now, how to check whether there is any notice or not? You have to log in to the given URL in the slide. Then go to the e-filing tab. From there, select income tax return and then navigate to view file returns. If any of the messages appear, your return is subject to correction. The first one is pending for response to adjustments under section 143(1). Second one is ITR is filed defective or incorrect or maybe incomplete. The third one is ITR processing completed and demand has been determined. Now, the service of income tax notice. The Income Tax Department has laid down the law for the service of a notice, summons, orders, etc. The following ways in which notices are issued have been described below. The first one is receipt of notice directly. That is, the notice is directly addressed to the individual. Next one is service by post. Notice can be served through a registered post. Service by affixture. This one we have normally seen in the movies. In this, the assessee refuses to sign the acknowledgement, or a copy of the notice is fixed on the outer door or the assessee's residential premise. Next is the HUFs and the partnership firms. In case the HUF is completely dissolved, the notice may be issued on the person who was the manager of the HUF. In case of firms, notices are issued to the former partners. In case of the closed businesses, in case of proprietorship business, notice is issued to the proprietor. In case of partnership firms or association of persons, notice is issued to any member who have been part of the firm during discontinuation. In case of a company, the notice will be served on the principal officer or the director. Thanks for watching. You can find us at www.helpmybiz.in. Thank you and have a very nice day. And don't be afraid of the income tax notices after you have gone through the entire video.